Hello, good morning. Greetings, everyone. Greeting to our wonderful guest today. This is CINEplusPERFO, Fipfa International Festival of Performance Art in Audiovisual Formats.
Sorry to interrupt you. Have your camera on.
Hello, now I have a face, voice first, and then So today is let's see, this festival started last Saturday, November 2nd. Today is the 7th, Thursday. So we are sort of in the middle. The festival runs from the 2nd to the 12th of November annually, and this is the 4th edition. This is a festival that emerged in the, sort of the last part of the COVID pandemic, when we were meeting through this way, virtually, and performance artists really grab the virtual space to be able to continue meeting with each other, talking and performing as well. So this relationship with audiovisual medium became more present, certainly, and now with the, including the platforms, which was also something that appeared in the beginning, right, of the internet in the 90s, when began to be accessible for everybody. People were doing those, the video performances were becoming live transmissions, sometimes long duration, things like that. And now this is all, like ancient, almost technology. You walk around with these machines, and we are constantly communicating through these mediums. So the purpose of the festival is really to observe that relationship and what happens to performance art as being, like a presence-based type of practice. Of course, virtual presence became very important in those times, and that's this expansion, right? But so there is a long relationship between, action art and the audiovisual medium. The long relationship of attraction and complementation by necessity and mutual inspiration, those fields, since the invention of photography and cinema. We can remember Georges Méliès performing, the trip to the moon, and, performance to camera, and, creating space, a setting, even photography, very old photography, right? With backdrops and special furniture to keep people still, you had to perform your own presence. If you could afford, people that could afford getting their pictures taken, you would have to be still. That was durational. From like a minute to an hour, sometimes, depending on the media that, the photographers had at hand. So, and that was rare and amazing. So we established this, of course, relationship and fascination with the image, this is the mirror thing. And one of your pieces, Soufïa's piece, deals with that very well. So I thought it was interesting to remember that also in relation to the purpose of how this festival emerged in 2021, right? And this, living with technology. So my name is Graciela Ovejero Postigo. I'm the initiator of this project, and the festival is one of the branches of a space that I founded in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in 2011. It's a physical space dedicated to performance art, and it's called Peras de Olmo, Elms Pears, Ars Continua. It has this long name with a part in Latin. The culture talks through you, right? It's like my colonized education. And so we're seeing, just here a little bit, Alejandra, who's helping us in Buenos Aires, showing the site of the festival. You enter. I just wanted to mention to the audiences, there is a parallel English version in which you may find the text in English, but we have to keep checking that because Alejandra tells me she's been having issues with that sort of parallel site is not acknowledging these updates she has been doing, for the new information. So we have to check with the server, things like that. It does happen, and we have been experiencing, some issues of like the internet sort of cutting. All kinds of things are going on around in the world. Of course, we had the bad news of the elections here in the US yesterday. I don't know, we are users being used, consumers being consumed. So the site, I just wanted to point out how to get to if you stop there, Ale, show us the chronogram, the schedule maybe. And then, so the schedule for the festival is basically like a blog, chronograma is schedule. She's showing us the Spanish version because the English is not completely clear, reproduced. You have a series of buttons in the beginning, then you can click and you go to each event. The buttons have the dates, blah, blah, the things that have been published every day, like this one will be published later on today. And then you can go so the first content that was published is the virtual exhibition, right? That was our event of today that Ale was showing us. And the virtual exhibition, you go there, muestra virtual, virtual exhibition. And yeah, you can show that, there is a direct link to watching the two programs with the short pieces. This year we had short pieces, called for short pieces. So we were able to do a collective curatorial with the jury of this year composing, those two programs. And a third program will be issued next Sunday after the jury will give the mentions to all of the artists. So, okay, wonderful. Thank you, Ale. With that, we show to our audience, and also invite our audiences to explore in that page, the page of today's event, explore more about you, your bios. They're short, but you have a lot of work done, amazing dedication. And we have included the sites, your sites, links to your sites, and everything else that might be going on currently, the projects that you are dealing with. You can send us the link and we will include them. So I will invite each one of you to do like a little, self-presentation. Well, let me just say this conversation is part of the Analytical Conversation series, which are group conversations with artists from the prior edition, in this case, the edition of 2023, that as every edition, the festival starts with a call. And the call in 2023 was about action as nature, nature as action, something like that. So it was, pieces that artists may have had already produced or felt inspired to produce at that time in this relationship of reflecting about action and nature mutually, So we have 4 wonderful pieces that we would be watching, and hearing from the authors directly. So I will invite each one of you, and one of the artists, Kuba, Falk, is not with us yet. He probably had some confusion about the time of connecting, but he will come in. So we will begin, with this little brief self-introduction, in which I also invite each one of you to say something about performance art, action art. What do you think? How do you refer to it? How how do you name it? Performance, action, live art, interactivity, behavioral art, actionism. I'm just going through, actuations, like Alistair MacLean refers to his performance installations as actuations in space, right? So just to get into a little bit of that. And I invite first Tzu-Chi. Is Tzu-Chi yet?
Yes.
Wonderful, welcome, and thank you all for this coincidence. We are all spread out in the world from east to west, really. And so you tell us a little bit about you, where you are, and yeah, and about performance art.
Hi, everyone. I am Tzu-Chi, but in our culture, our last name put in front of the given name. So normally people call me Ye Tzu-Chi. Yes. And I live in Taiwan. I was born and grew up in Taipei, but then I moved and lived in Tainan, in the southern part of Taiwan. And I started performance art since 2002. So it's like more than 20 years now. Yes. And sometimes I organize performance art festival and also doing workshop. Yes, that's it. And I have been to like more than 20 countries to to show my performance art there. And for me, performance art is, how should I say? Performance art for me is a kind of art form where we use, where the concept in our body or together with the audience's bodies. And also it's dealing so much with the environment surrounding us. And yeah, and so so it's a process. It's a process. In a short or long time, there's an action where convey what we thought, what we think about something. Oh. So for me, performance art, now the terminology seems a little bit confused. Yes, now. In Chinese, we translate it into like something like behavior art. Yes, but performance art now in Taiwan, I think the whole word is almost the same. Like it is performance art, but performing, it becomes, how should I say? 行为艺术、表演艺术化 performingized. Yeah. So there's a lot of different opinions and arguments. So now my strategy is, I don't care what people talk about that. I just do what I want to do. And anyway, I got invited to join events or festivals, so it doesn't matter how people define my art. Yeah, so
great.
Yeah, for the time being, that's it.
Yes.
Yes,
there is, the pre-existing and all along also evolving field of performing arts that
even Marina Abramovich recently she said performance art is performing art. She says that. So,
yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah, of course there is connections, and it depends what you're doing, what your business is. She has a lot of business now.
Yeah.
Connecting with spectacle and big, systems of framing art and the live art. Live art is also very general, of course, and then, but also the performing and the performative in social life as well. But in the field of the arts, like, the traditional performing arts have gotten close to performance because it's fascinating, really, yeah? So, okay, so let's hear from you, John. Go ahead. Present yourself, your place.
Welcome. Thanks so much. Can you hear me? Yes. Hello. My name's John G. Boehme. I am coming to you as a settler on the traditional territories of the Lacombe-speaking people of the Songhees and Esquimalt Nation, who are right here on the lands that I'm on right now, and who have been stewards of these lands for millennia. I raise my hands in gratitude and use the Lacombe saying Aichka Siem, grateful to be here and to be on these territories. And I try to shepherd the land as best I can. I'm originally from the Kumeyaay territories in the Great Chumash Nation in Southern California, and I'm now on these territories, and I'm grateful to be here. I have been doing performance since 1995 around the world, and I'm also an instructor at Camosun College for the last 25 years, teaching performance ceramics and 4D and 3D work, where I'm going to be going later on, teaching a class in 3D and 4D time-based media, and performance happens in an unscripted, unrehearsed period of time where a witness or not a witness happens in a site-specific and site-sensitive location, with the intention of the artist making an artwork. And that's as much as I'm going to go. I don't want to frame it in any other way or put it in a silo, but that's what it is. Anything other than that is something else. You know, it's performance for camera, it's performance for photography, it's, you know, it's something else. So it only happens through a period of time that's unscripted between yourself and whoever may be there.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what I have for performance, and I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing everybody else's work. I have done performance with Alistair, Seiji Shimoda, Marilyn Arsum, Jamie McMurray in Buenos Aires in 2004 or 5.
Wow.
2005 or 6. Yes.
Oh, you have to come back.
And I look forward to it. Look forward to it.
We will work on it. Fantastic. Invitation to all of you. Tzu-Chi has been there. We had the luck to be able to work it out at some point. And
thank you very much.
Yeah. No, thank you, John. It's a pleasure, immense pleasure for me. And certainly the house is there for all of you, right? Hello, Kuba. Great. We have you now. I know that there was some time confusion with this. Yeah, we did change times here, Pacific time change for John, for myself. I'm in California, but
yes.
I think you were saying, but it created the confusion. It always happens, but that's fine. We are here. Happy to see you. Yes. And so now we have lost Soufïa. Before suddenly her internet seemed to have cut her out. So we will continue with you. We were doing this self-introduction rather than me reading your bios, which are published in the page of the event. So I invited the audience to explore them, also explore the extra links that of your size to your sites, and whatever else you're doing currently, you're welcome to send it to us. We will include it there, of course. So as you heard, John, we're just going through this circle that later on will become a spiral, hopefully, when we start looking into the pieces and you talking about your pieces. So you can self-introduce and also say some words about performance art. How do you name it? And I know you have some elaborations on that. Yes. So go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kuba Falk. I am a performance and intermedia artist based in Warsaw, Poland. Right now, I am in Strasbourg, France. And my performances, I call them body tales. I am interested in communication through movement, communication through action, and transferring meanings and emotions through this bodily experience. And so I started doing performance around 15, 17 years ago. And my background was actually in theater. And then I started studying intermediate arts at the Academy of Fine Arts, and slowly but inevitably shifted fully towards visual field and performance art. And I'm interested in investigating mythology, and ecofeminism is also a frame of reference that I work within, dealing with rituals and nature. So that would be basics.
Great, great. Thank you, Kuba. So, Soufïa, and now would be your turn. If you're there, hopefully internet helping. I see your image, but not your mic connected. Let's see if you just came in briefly. You're probably dealing with some mystery that I wonder if new mythologies. But yes, she disappeared. New mythologies will be created. Well, they are being created. The thing is, like these mediums, early on, I was talking about, how this festival emerged, that it emerged in the, sort of last portion of the social isolation because of the pandemic, global pandemic, and in which these technologies of communication became so important for us to continue our human being. And so no, just chit-chatting a bit about how these interruptions are coming from the machines and whatever is behind the situation. Of course, electricity goes out in the, I don't know, we don't know what to do. We will not know. Some people will know what to do. That's why we should get close to the people that have always been close to the earth with those earlier human technologies that like cooking for yourselves, cooking for ourselves, right? A lot of people don't cook for themselves anymore. Anyway, so it looks like we have lost Soufïa again. So when she connects back, eventually, hopefully, she's in Tunisia, and I don't know exactly what the situation could be there in terms of the connectivity. But the plan was to, after this round of self-introductions, which I thank you all, and it's wonderful to hear from you directly, and to go through the works. Alejandra, who is in Buenos Aires, will run the videos, your pieces, first with sound, for some seconds, half a minute, something like that. And then, or whenever you decide, so like within a minute or so, then you start talking about the piece. And we will, I had, created like a certain order that I thought, thinking about your pieces, relating, Tzu-Chi, Kuba, John, and then Soufïa. Hopefully by then she will be able to connect, just in this, okay, there she's asking admission back again. Wonderful. Soufïa, wonderful. We have you back. No worries. I'm watching, I know the connection is weird. So before we go into the pieces, then let's hear from you about yourself, where you are, and your ideas about performance, how you encounter, how you use, because you work in the interactive. And let's just hear from you. Mike, yeah, that's it. Here.
Yes. Hello, I'm Soufïa.
Yeah, obviously.
Performance art for me is movement. So dancing with others. And I noticed that the quality of connection with one another opened a field of consciousness in the space and made an alive space interesting to encounter. And from movement, I discovered performance art. So I came from somatic practices and movement with the body. And I just did some art pieces and they told me, oh, you're doing performance art. So, oh, okay. So it came naturally from a natural expression from this beasts.
Yeah, we are experiencing some delay.
With
It's becoming a sound piece.
With what is there?
Yeah. Soufïa, the sound is not rendering you well. We don't hear. I don't know if you hear me. Can you hear me correctly? Because there is a lot of delay from you. Oh, it got caught again. Okay, so we lost for now. Let's hope that the internet comes back for Soufïa, and it's so interesting to listen from each one of you. I really hope that it can become, if it's stable, and then she can interact with us, because anyway, so I think that there was a lot of delay. It was really hard to understand. For a moment I could, and it's going to be recorded anyway, but what was she saying? I don't know if she was able to, but the connection is really not good at this time with Tunisia. So we will go ahead, Ale, with the pieces, and we will see first Tzu-Chi and yeah, I was just this order, just wait a little bit there. The order I was thinking, this connection, Tzu-Chi, Kuba, John, and Soufïa, sort of going through a little bit of relationship to nature directly, the sights, the materialities that you produce the piece with, and how these different things had their own voices, you know, or presence. The earth doesn't seem to have a voice, but, you know, like in the piece of John's piece, but the labor there and the materiality, we can kind of sense the humidity, you know, and what goes on. So it's very interesting. And then Soufïa's piece is very much a social piece, interactive piece, the mirroring and connecting with others. And the piece came out during, you know, social confines. So I put it there at the end, so hopefully she gets better connection by the time. So let's run a Tzu-Chi's piece, which is called Sonata, Wind Sonata. And then after a little bit of
그냥 나무 한 그루 털어서 그래도 되게 체구가 작나 봐. 맨바닥 하면 안 쏘잖아. 앉아있어? 누워있는 거야. 아니 저 방금 내가 저 석고기 빡 치면 빡 이거 왜 이렇게 귀엽냐. 그냥 자다가 낙엽이 다 없어지면 나오는 거. 날아간다. 우리나라 사람들 다 있어? 어? 진짜? 저걸 일부러 하겠다고 해서 들어간 거지? 이거 아, 근데 들어있는 사람 완전 좋겠다. 들어가 있는 거야? 낙엽에서 날아갈 때 날아가. 혜선이 앉아 있어. 작아? 되게 뭉치면 딱 나오는데 내 얼굴 너무 움츠리고 뭐 하는 거지? 저 낙엽에 냄새나가 똥 냄새 야 바람이 안 불지? 만약 바람 안 불면 어떡해? 불잖아. 안 날아갈 거야. 만약 바람 안 불면.
Right, Tzu-Chi.
So now I talk
Yes, yes.
talk about this performance.
Yeah, the piece. I mean, it's interesting how the wind, I mean, you know, when does a performance or the piece start? Yeah. So we see you, first of all, of course, we know there is a long process, a process of research of the space, depending. In this case, I think you were invited in some event. I don't know exactly. You can tell us.
Okay.
You can tell us
So,
about that
okay.
context, and then And then, for example, you know, the moment that we see, you know, the camera is placed and starts recording, and you enter the site. The camera is showing us the site. You enter, and kind of how the wings at that moment there becomes the protagonist, you know. And the kids, the people, the young people that were helping you, they react to that. It's the phenomenon.
Okay, I talked about it.
Everything. Yeah.
So I made this performance when I was in an artist residency. It's not a performance art festival. And it's in Incheon art platform in Korea. And Incheon is a harbor where there's a Korean War, and General MacArthur landed Korean, in Incheon. So it's a big harbor. It's a big harbor and very windy there. Yeah, and it's late autumn. So the leaves become dry and fall. So on the street, a lot of leaves, and the strong wind blow the leaves. So, and the leaves, you know, the friction with the ground makes a beautiful sound. Yes. So anyway, there are a lot of leaves there. And the second thing is my name is Tzu-Chi. In Chinese, 3 characters. And the first, my family name, my surname, Ye, means leaves. And
the
first 2 words together, Yezi, my name is Tzu-Chi, right? The first 2 words, Yezi, also means leaves.
Oh.
So my name is, you know, very closely related to leaves. It means leaves.
Yeah.
So I think, then I should, once in my life, I have to do some performance with leaves. You know? So I think that's a perfect location to do this piece.
Really?
And at first, I think my mother once told me that she was very poor when she was a child. She lives with her family in the mountain, and then they're very poor that they don't have bed. They don't have bed, and the way they sleep is put the dry grass or leaves under, you know, as a bed, and they lie on it. So I think, maybe I lie on the grass, the leaves. But then a lot of imagination, and finally this image stayed.
Yeah.
And this image remind me like woman's pregnancy. And the first is pregnancy, and the second, it reminds me of the snake eating elephant in the Little Prince. Yeah, so I think it's very interesting. And I think it works because the wind is so strong that it should blow the leaves away from me, and I will reveal in the end. But when I was doing this, the problem is at first the top of the leaves easily blown away.
Right.
At the lower, you know, the latter part, the leaves, like the underneath, the root, it's very difficult to be blown away. Like it is impossible that they will, you know, like they attach to my body. They will not leave me. So I wait a very long time there. This performance took me like 2 to 3 hours. It's long.
Yes.
And Yes.
duration.
And besides, in the beginning, I didn't think about the noise, the young girls.
Yes.
They are students.
Yeah.
After school, they just pass by and then they stay to watch.
Wonderful.
So they talk a lot.
Yes.
And I forgot, because in our experience, when we do performance, audience will be quiet, right? So I didn't expect that things will become like this. They are very noisy, and I didn't ask the staff to prevent from this situation to happen. So they're talking, just accompany me from the beginning to the end. And at first I feel annoyed, but later, because I was isolated
Yes.
from people from the world under within the lives, and step by step I find the only connection between me and the world is their talking, their noise. Make
Excellent.
me
Yeah.
not so bored
Yeah.
inside. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And actually the videographer is also an artist, a Korean local artist. Yes. And he gave me 2 editions. One is a time lapse one. The length is only 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Mm.
Yeah. And I put that video in the YouTube and my website. And this long edition, when I have to make a choice, this one or that short piece. And then I think, okay, let's try. Let's try if this works.
Yeah. It totally works. Absolutely.
Totally works. It's very long. I didn't expect that. I don't have any expectation from this long piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the jury mentioned it, I a little surprised.
Yes.
But
Yes.
of course, I'm very happy to be mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a beautiful piece. It totally works. And you do get a sense also that the piece may have been longer than the time, which is 40-something minutes, that is rendered there. And it's wonderful to see the few people that cross by. That's the first one, the man. He walks in a certain way that looks like stop motion or something, his way of walking, and then the wind comes. Those little events are just precious. I mean, to observe. It's really, and the sound of the leaves and the wind is really amazing. And of course, the position of the body in the shape of the human seed, as you mentioned, I wrote that down, because it is the mound, as you said, the belly, the earth, and
in the short edition, because the sound cannot, there's problem with sound.
Yeah.
So the videographer, he pick a music for that. So in that short one, we cannot hear the sound of the leaves.
Yeah. We are not there.
Yeah.
When sound is imposed, it breaks the relationship with the integration between time, space, and phenomena. And that is it's problematic. This is one of the things, that we observe, and precisely when the pieces come in, that there's the bicycle going, and when the pieces come in, see how different that man works, and he's looking down, so different. It is one of the things, you know, the disruption of the temptation of you know, putting external sound to a piece. It becomes something else, you know, it becomes a video piece and something else, and it takes away something that is essential with action and performance, you know, the connection, the present time, and the space and the context. And yes, your piece got a mention, beautiful, from Michel Lacombe. All of the pieces of you, all of the 4 artists here in this talk have gotten mentions. And she wrote, "I appreciate the subtlety and the pacing of this action and how the wind is actually left to perform on the materials on behalf of the artist. It is patient and sensitive work which effectively transports us to the action unfolding in public space." Totally, yeah, really. And yeah, so I thought also notably making the invisible visible.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah, something that also happens in Kuba's piece, which we will watch now, and there is a relationship there in reference to the tree. I think this man stops and looks. No, there are some people that walk by. They are always going the same direction. I guess that's the direction towards, you know, if this is close to the coast, this is somehow, you know, it makes you wonder about that place, you know, and it's all that architecture then in place, as you say, relates to military buildings. And at the very end of the piece, it's also revealed. So the videographer was sensitive in doing this. Yeah, I think Alena is trying to get us to the last part. That's great.
Yeah.
And
they're all waiting for me to reveal, you know.
Yes.
Waiting there.
Yeah, waiting
Yeah,
for
me
that
too.
to happen.
Also waiting.
Yeah. But so interesting, the thing that you said, that, yeah, in the beginning, yes, you know, we used the audience in silence, and this was a casual encounter, a very kind, you know, interactivity, which, you know, we see in the very beginning with these young girls covering you with the leaves. I imagine the experience, and then they're watching that,
yeah,
you know, happy, and how they're, of course, young people, you know, talking and laughing.
Yeah.
And
full of energy, you know.
Right. And
Yeah.
being that sound, as you said, accompany the connection with the world. It's your experience, because you were there for approximately 2 hours. And yeah, that's what your head is reviewing.
It's difficult to retrieve,
Yes.
stand up, because lying too long, and I feel dizzy. Every move, every step, I have to wait for a few seconds. Yeah.
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 Yes. Yes.
Dizzy.
Yes. Yes. It's nice to see that. Thank you, Ale. Thank you. And we see there a little bit the space. Wonderful. Oh, we have Soufïa again. Let's hear from you, Soufïa. Hopefully we can actually hear, because we were having a lot of sound distortion. There's delay, but I see your movements now clear, so maybe you can hear we can hear from you, and then we will go on with Kuba's piece. We just watched Tzu-Chi's piece and heard her. So now go ahead with your presentation, because we practically could not understand when you got the connection first. Now it looks stable.
Beautiful. Okay. And I was talking about hearing, how it's funny, huh? Life is has a lot of humor. I continue what performance art is for me. This is it. It's today for me, it's offering, I would say, a vibrational space that could be perceived by the audience, and I found out by living and experiencing a life that vibrational space of those fields are activated by the quality of presence of the performer, or the performer with, related to, with participants, or whatever that is alive. I mean, everything is alive. So it's a lot about quality of presence for me, performance art. It's about offering also. So what comes from a live call, let's say, that needs to be offered as an alive piece that has a deep meaning and enough vibrating, and that vibrating alive to be perceived or received by one another. So it sounds maybe a little bit conceptual, but for me it comes a lot from experience, a very embodied experience. So it's also a lot about how to embody, what life. That's maybe only that, performing. Today it's that for me.
Sounds great, wonderful. And yeah, certainly when we get to your piece after Kuba, and everything you have said becomes, we can connect all those concepts there, and you can tell us about how the experience was, because there is a process there with others, right? So let's go to Kuba, from the leaves to the missing tree. Ale, if you can show us the Kuba's piece in the sharing screen. Are you there, Kuba?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, I'm
okay.
here.
Okay, cool. So let's just hear first a bit and be there.
Yes, so this is Embracing the Void performance I did in 2017. And that was shoot in Warsaw, in one of the parks in the city. And that park was close to the place I was living at that time. And behind those trees that were cut down, there is a very particular concrete story. Around that time, right-wing government was elected, a very corrupted one, a very violent one that made a lot of damage to the social structure, economic structure of the country, or at least they made a lot of chaos. And it's really hard to blame them, because the other wing, the left wing, is also a neoliberal mindset that would basically do the same. And now we have the more liberal government, and they're not really helping the environment. Anyways, in 2017, there was this Minister of Environment and Environmental Protection, and he was really an evil person. He was, because he died some years after being elected for this being minister. Anyways, and he made he issued permission to cut down trees if they are growing on your land, because usually you would have to ask for a permission to do that. If the tree is like more than 50 centimeters in, you would probably have to ask. But then he issued the permission to cut down any trees you wish. And that was not only devastating, huge damage to the forests. They would cut down, 150% of what they were cutting before. And now we had some floods during the heavy rain and flash floods. And they are also because there was no forest growing on the hills that would protect this rain from, flooding
Sure.
the valleys and the towns. So it was a really huge, terrible thing, and I wanted to comment on this event somehow. I also wanted to mourn about this tree that in that particular park and particular tree that I was connected to, and it was some people were saying that a tree that grows in the city is even like 100 times more valuable for the ecosystem, for so many reasons, and than the tree growing in a forest. So it was really terrible to watch this happening, and people would just perceive trees as money, because of course they were cutting down those trees because they then can sell it, right? And so it was really heartbreaking what was happening at that time. And actually it still continues. We have maybe not in the cities right now, maybe that, I don't know, they have no more trees to cut down probably. But it still continues, and it's a huge problem. So that's a background for this performance I did. One day I went there, I took some photos of me holding that void, and some next days I wanted to shoot a video, so I did. So yeah, that's basically the context of this work is like that.
Yeah, thank you, Kuba. Yeah, it's very important to, to hear from the artists in this case, about the specific situation, because we don't know how long maybe the tree was sick or what happened, it could be in a condition that would be of danger for something nearby if it, a storm or something hits it, but it's actually this horrendous thing that is going on about deforestation and really harassing, taking down nature in a brutal way. In South America and the Amazonas, we have seen it burning the lungs of our planet is just unthinkable. You know, what do these people have in their minds? It's just amazing, such violence that we observe. So it's very important what you said, and I know I have seen you interact frequently with short pieces in Instagram, and you have very interesting comments, social, political, cultural comments every time. You know, it's this reflection about what is going on in the world, and you coming from a country, you know, like myself, and from these territories, colonized territories, and territories that are, you know, constantly harassed by economic powers to extract and really kill life, kill nature, and it doesn't matter how it affects to communities and all that. And so I appreciate that very much. And I think like it's part of the consciousness of the artist has to do with, yes, where did we grow up, you know, and the artist as a witness, right, of all of those situations. I also found in your piece, this piece, which also got a mention from Nick Khan. He's a filmmaker from Taiwan, and I found that the gesture, the relationship between, of course, the side gesture and side, and the power of one gesture as a full action, really, you know, and it's also dealing with the missing tree, and the tree as this human archetype, right, of mythology. Is really the representation in so many mythologies about life and the humans. Without trees, we don't exist. Absolutely, you know, and many other species, of course. And one of the things, you know, in relationship with like the sound of the space there is some subtle wind, you know, more softer than the wind that manifests in Tzu-Chi's piece, and the changes of light, because you stay there for 10 minutes. You made this proposition that you will sustain the embrace of the void for 10 minutes. And we see those subtle changes, and the birds, because there are winds, there are trees around. There is a very deep, profound relationship, and this touches on a concept that Soufïa just mentioned, the vibration, the vibratory aspect of gesture and sound, of course. The sound, the singing of birds helps nature grow. It's a very, you know, that vibration. It's, I mean, scientists, you know, scientists are saying this is happening, stop it, but nobody wants to listen. The powerful people just go on, you know, destroying. It's like you topple a tree, and do you know it's so many years for a tree to grow. It's just healing so much. It's amazing, you know.
Yeah, I think it's this work is also about searching for personal connection to your environment and nature in particular, and recognizing that we are interconnected and we depend on each other, etc. So when you have your personal connection to nature and environment and your surrounding, then you act differently. You maybe have different approach to things when you get out from that exploitative perspective of just using and taking things and resources, or using people and exploiting then it's hard to do that when you have your personal relation to other beings, when you recognize that those trees are actually alive, they are intelligent, they remember, they feel, they perceive, they store memories, they tell stories, they communicate. Then it's a very different approach to that surrounding. So for me, it was also doing this work was a kind of statement, you know, like when we cut down all the trees, there will be no one to talk with, to communicate with, to have fun with, or we depend on their oxygen that they get rid of, etc. So yes, for me it was also about that, just highlighting the importance of creating your own connection. And for me, that was going to the park and hugging a tree, or lying on the tree, and actually that time I remember I was getting more and more confused. I would go for a walk, and I was walking on the street and asking myself, "What am I doing here? Like I should be barefoot in nature, just like walking on the grass, not this, concrete." And soon after, I moved away from the city. For almost 2 years, I was living in a countryside, and so that work was also a kind, for me, was something ended in that moment. I saw this terrible devastation in the city, and what I really needed for my personal healing and balance, inner balance, was to have a direct connection with the surrounding and nature, and finding my inspiration and comfort there. So I did that. I left the city that year, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Kuba. So it really is, this the relationship with the works, and what the works, the depth of the relationships that the works put us in contact with the materialities and the sites that we choose. They, of course, definitely have a transformative result in ourselves, and also sometimes on people that are around, depending, but certainly for the artist. And you said very well, in the circumstances that all that was happening, and then you made a decision to leave the city, and go for the opportunity to be closer to nature. I will read what Nick has written, which is just to also thank him for his words and his considerations. The artist stands in front of a tree stump and extends his hands, he says, pretending to embrace. But I see your gesture, you try to imagine, how the tree will go. You go slowly into that. It's not pretending, but it's finding, approaching, getting close to, but it just came out in this way in his wordings, a tree that has disappeared. Embracing the void shows the intimacy possible between human beings and nature, as well as the artist missing that intimacy. The performance is minimal, nonetheless powerful. Yeah. Thank you, Kuba.
Thank you.
And so now we can go on with John. And I was thinking, okay, so we have here like 3 pieces, sort of like in the genre of landscape, relationship with the land. And then Soufïa's, that is portraits, genre of portraits. We will get to that, Soufïa. So John, tell us about your piece, Tailings, which means there is this waste material left, over the when mining is conducted in the land.
I was invited to Northern Ireland during the Belfast International Performance Art Festival for a specific focus on ecology and the environment. And at the time, there was a push by the United Kingdom, because Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, to support resource extraction in Northern Ireland. And there was a specific location in the Sperrin Hills outside of Belfast that a Canadian company was given the mining rights for gold extraction. Yeah. And the Sperrin Hills is where the leprechaun was sort of the mythology of the leprechaun, which of course is at the end of a rainbow.
Yeah.
Little ghoulish figures who protect a pot of gold because it's very rich in gold. Along with that, it's also a very, very historical location. Specifically, this one, where the Romans would, there was a Christian altar that was there, and the Romans found it out and killed the Christians. So not only these hills are specific for gold, it's also Canadian. So there was a big fight to protect this area. And in this location, it is slated to be the tailing ponds where the cyanide pools what they use to extract the gold from the earth.
Yeah.
And so for this piece, I decided to actually replicate the tailing ponds by digging a hole and then eating a plowman's lunch covered in gold. So everything I'm eating there is covered in edible gold. And
the drink as well.
The drink is called Goldschlager, which is a schnapps infused with edible gold. Yeah. So Goldschlager and gold covered food, indigenous food of the area, plowman's lunch. And then eat it, and then summarily take a giant poo of gold in the hole, leaving my trace like the tailing pond itself, and then fill the hole back up. So the trace of the gold-covered feces is left.
Yeah.
And this was at the location of a protest site. So there were a number of people and press that were there. And this was in line with the Belfast International Performance Art Festival, where I also did another performance in the University of Ulster, where I had gold-covered chocolate coins and a Ulster fry covered in gold, and I ate the Ulster fry covered in gold, and then shoved the chocolate coins covered in gold up my ass during the performance, and then walked around it as it was falling out of my ass, and I was handing out shots of Goldschlager. So, and this is the manifestation of the performance, and this is a video documentation by Alyssa Carganelli, that was in you know all around the press and at the time because it was hotly contested.
Right.
And
the context, the political context was very at stake at the moment, very high. Yeah.
And this resource extraction is it's very contested because there's a lot of people employed in the area that are normally unemployed, that would be working at the site. And it goes the same with forestry. In our area, we have the oldest old growth forest in the world, and those are the oldest trees in the world, in literally 40 minutes away from where I'm at. Right. And the oldest rainforests that are indigenous to this area, that are supplying a lot of indigenous people with employment.
Yes.
And so they're being logged, and that's it's a conflicted area for sure. And so yes, that's this performance. And then I had ribbons.
Yeah. What about the ribbons that
I mean, that was an homage to awards, the futility of awards and achievement.
Oh.
And they, of course, were taken off because they didn't want to litter. And this is when the table comes out, and then the defecation occurs.
Yes, yes. Sending back the precious mineral to the ground.
Correct. So yes, and the Sporn Hills are a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah.
And with history, and of course, it's also about a community building, right? So there's a whole community. There's Brian Conley, and a whole variety of, and there it is. There's the magic of a healthy biome.
Of a healthy, organic process action.
Right, and then it gets filled back up in your traces. The traces.
Yeah.
And that was the idea of the tailing ponds. And I think that might have been stopped in the Sporn Hills. They've decided not to do the gold mine there.
Yeah, it seemed like it was very successful in that way, and that is so hopeful, to see that projects like that will stop. And then, of course, the presence of the earth, the darkness with the beautiful green of Ireland. There, it's an amazing framing for you there in that square hall that was created first, with the labor and help of the community. You totally sense that the community, and of course, it's important, the information. A hint in the title, right, about mining and digging the earth, and then of course learning, in the information about the gold and the context with the Canadian mining. What are they doing? They must have you guys, you already have gold in your own mountains, a lot. What are they doing with it? Canada is going to be the place, the country that has the most gold. What is going on? We have that issue in Argentina, throughout South America. The Andes is Canadian presence. Mining companies are so strong there. We have several sites of this problematic ongoing from the 90s, really. But it's so hard. It's so hard. They just smash communities. They bribe the politicians, and it keeps going on.
I think it's just that we've been here in Canada, in terms of colonization, we've been extracting minerals for hundreds of years. So you're just good at it. And that's no excuse, but
yeah, but I wonder, yeah, like you say, what are they going to do with it? So much gold. It's just like, you know, it's not more important the trees right now and than the earth, right, being worked. Yeah.
My son is just leaving to go for a big exam. And I think that also, you know, it's also, yeah, that's what I just gave him a smooch.
Yes.
But also, you know, conversely, you know, from the other side, it does employ people in the area that are normally not employed. And so the argument from the government is that it's supplying much needed jobs for a place that doesn't have them. And so the payoff is that you know, you're employed as opposed to unhealthy degradation to the environment, which has a much longer term effect than short term employment.
Yeah, but that's I tell you, John. Sorry. Yeah, it's I know that's the argument. It's a false argument. It's a false argument. It's no value when you put things together, and they don't really create a lot of jobs. They don't. It's
a short term.
It is some. It's short term, but all of the economies. And I'm talking about, you know, what is going on in our mountains, small villages in Argentina. Their economies, villages that were self-sufficient with their own agricultural economies and craft foods and things. They produce small communities composed mostly of like, you know, mestizo indigenous people and people with the land, you know, caring for the land. The rivers are poison. People have cancer. No, there is no comparison. It's really, you know, it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a total lie. There is no benefit. And they take everything. They take the minerals, they take the water. They extract what they take the water. They take everything. It's really so devastating. But it's wonderful to see that in this case, and also your intervention took a lot of, you know, portraying in the media because you're a Canadian citizen. And that is wonderful, courageous. I congratulate you for that. And I love the result of it, that it did have an effect, right? So that's what we read. And yes, and of course, your piece also got this mention from Nikan in this case as well, you know, as for this like site-specific political irony, successful, really, and the way you relate your body in your performances, your body is great, inside out, and like in this case, very literally, right? And so he says something like an ironic gesture for an action that takes place in a territory disputed for mining excavation among its locals in a Canadian mining company in the Sperring Mountains of Northern Ireland. The performance is humorous and pleasant. Digging the hole in the ground makes sense for establishing a comfortable dining room. Not for mining. Cool, you know, that's it, yeah. Not for mining, for having a meal. And it's hilarious and shows those businessmen how to use the land correctly. That's great, that's great. This is wonderful. Okay, so now we go to you again, Soufïa, and your piece. Let's see, let's watch a bit of it, and then whenever you're ready, you tell us about the process. And
so I'll let you see the first.
Yes.
So this piece, as you see, was made on Zoom, on internet. And it was inspired for me during lockdown, as I discovered a practice with fellow artists and friends through the ocean, I mean, throughout the world. A practice to connect, because all the disconnectedness or the anxiety that was happening during COVID, and also staying at home, finding creative ways to connect with others. And I acknowledge that this practice was shown to me by a Canadian Québécois friend whose name Marc-Antoine Orange, who loves organizing sitting to look eye to eye with friends in the park since years. So he does this kind of encounters, and he likes filming himself looking into his eyes into the mirror. And then he invited me to this encounter with some intimate friends, like small circles, and we did it. And I found that amazing. And I did that myself, looking, gazing to my own selfie, but diving into my eyes and just breathing. And just looking into my eyes in my own selfie and experiencing day by day an opening of amazing space. It's like the soul door, and the voile, the curtain drop down, and seeing suddenly within spaces that were already here. I mean, it's like, it's not like, it's acknowledging oneself at a deep, deep dimension, deep level. And it was so beautiful doing that with others, with friends. It was a piece of art for me. And at a certain moment, I mean, it's a piece of art. I'm going to do it. And at that time, my father passed away. And I was next to him as I was living in Canada. And that time I was living in Tunisia, so near my father. And after 20 years in Canada, I was so happy to be there when he was old. And each time I was going back to Canada, wondering if I would be there for my old parents, and I was there. And at that time, you know, when dear people pass away, there are a shift of perception. Well, what is essential, what is important in life. And at that time, I was just longing for deep connection with human beings. Yeah. And I decided to do it, that art piece, connecting with others, and invited some friends, different backgrounds, different countries, who I felt were aiming to dive into their own selfie. And I hold space with small groups, 4 people at a time. And each time I had those gathering in the evening, and having they're okay to record, explaining, preparing the space so they feel more embodied, to do the exercise, to introduce it. So it was 1 hour before 5 minutes recording. Mm-hmm. And it was quality time, 1 hour quality time each time. And I knew where I was going with that portrait project. At each time, I am doing the most beautiful project of the world. So beautiful connection and encounters with the nature of who they are. So that's why I suggested that to that festival. Yeah, it was about nature too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's amazing using the technology available to us is now is every day, but at that time it was the space to meet. And yeah, creating the spaces of meeting, not to talk. One of the things that I observed at the beginning when, you know, everybody started connecting friendly through Zooms and things, I realized that the voice and the discourse, the discursive, was for me at that beginning, you know, because I saw many people started organizing festival and showing actions and video, but I was just waiting for the moment when people talked about the pieces. And I realized that the witnessing aspect and the time of listening to each other was more important for me at that time, more than watching the pieces, something that they were doing, although of course it was very interesting too, but it was mostly the direct presence that was had something, of course, special, and that's what we were missing so much. And this piece does not have the voice, it's just the gaze is confronting, as you said, the eyes diving into one's own eyes, but with the witnessing, the intimate witnessing of some of the people invited in the situation. We need to be acknowledged. If there is something fundamental to healthy human life, is connectivity and being acknowledged by our other human beings. It is so fundamental. That's what allowed kids to grow healthy when they are acknowledged, right? And of course, in those circumstances, that was so important. I can see the depth of this exercise and the beauty of the piece and the transformation in the faces, that moment of recording the self-gaze with the knowledge of being in the context of the witnessing room with others. It's very moving, very, very moving. This relational process, peace, you know, and empathy and emptiness, empathy, you know. And this, archetypal thing about the mirror and the face, and how, the self-estrangement also that takes place in the moment of looking at the eyes, that is going in and out, in and out. It's very particular in each person. And you can see moments of self-estrangement, you know, looking at our own reflection, and then how much, you know, we really are the other in a way, you know. In this, we long for the other, and but at the same time, we are the other. We are our other, and we are each other. So it's so beautiful. It's really amazing, and you know, it's just, as you said, the quality of that time. And again, going into the immensity of the gesture, the immensity of the human gesture, like Kuba's gesture, you know, just one gesture becoming a full action. The piece was also got a mention from Michelle Lacombe, and she said, simple but very effective relational work which proposed a singular take own theme, nature, our nature as social beings and beings of vibration and affectation. Yeah. So this is very moving. It's beautiful, and I thought that that we go in circle like that towards your piece, and I'm so happy that we actually now do have you in a good stable connection to actually do that. We navigate all those things too, and it is wonderful. We have this testimony and this documentation of our conversation today. And you said that this is part of a series of portraits, right? Like the piece that you submitted is an extract from, and you have made installations with the projections and large walls. You want to tell us a little bit about that aspect of?
Yes, with pleasure. There was, I did 30 encounters. There is only one who didn't want to sign to be used. I could edit only 17 portraits of 5 minutes nearly to be exhibited. It was exhibited in Quebec, in Canada, in a gallery, and I explored a different way of presenting in big size wall some portraits and more intimate spots to be in a one-on-one to watch on video. So putting some 3 portraits or 2 portraits, 4 portraits, just 1 portrait, lying down and also watching. So the body more relaxed. And there was really interesting reaction of the audience. There was people who was just passing by with a, oh, you have your Zoom on public, did you? And some people took it very personal. They thought that a live person were looking to them while they were lying, because the gaze was so involved, so present, so into. And in big size was also, as the wall was also very interesting to the small size of the body. So for me, it was interesting exploring an installation in different forms with those 17 portraits. And for the festival, I did an edition of Expert, where there was a threshold, that moment where the person is diving and just suddenly she sees herself or himself. So I did that specific moment. But I must say, each portrait is a performance. When watching the gaze of each one, just putting the attention on the eyes, it's a performance. It's talking about life. It's how going in, and it's so subtle, but at the same time, it's so huge, when doing a performance and just moving a small thing, and it takes the whole space. And it's 17 performances by 17, let's say, acquaintance, friends, or from my network. And I just offered those thresholds because I felt like just changing. I exhibited an installation of protests. Let's suggest that, because it was also about threshold.
Yes.
And the beginnings were also beautiful. And the moment where there is a gong, each one, there is such an intimacy, human intimacy, that is weaved when just being with those for 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, also the gong sound, the vibration, that sound, it resets the mind. And it's an amazing, simple technology. as well as listening to water, you know, to the river and water. Yesterday, the pieces had, most of the pieces were, you know, with the other analytical conversation we had in Spanish with artists that we ran into issues with YouTube because of nudity, but most of the pieces had a relationship with rivers or bodies of water and the sound of water, how it resets. And yeah, the gong, certainly, you know, of course, that an old practice that sounds, but also, I think John has to leave. John,
I have to go.
You
I've
have to
got to
go.
get to work. Okay. I
Okay.
just wanted to say thank you, and I'm hoping to see each one of you at some festival or
Yes.
event around the world.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
Have a nice day, John. Ciao.
Bye.
See
Ciao.
you soon. Ciao, ciao. Yeah, see you soon. Yeah, the gong, you know, as a setting, clearing the space, and in this very special invitation where there is a pre-existing connection in the safety of the constructions of friendship and connections, you know, carrying in that context. I was thinking also about your piece, how, you know, it just came to mind this gathering gazes, you call it portraits, of course, you know, a kind of, you know, comments on the genre of the portraits, but at the same time is a gathering, is a process and experience, and sort of gathering of those unique moments. I was thinking of Noah's Ark, you know, in terms of mythology, you know, as the image of the Ark surviving a global deluge, right? The flood myths of Mesopotamia, and as at that time, globally being under the circumstances of health, hostility, pandemia. And yeah, as you said, you know, all of the personal circumstances, the losing people all over the world, and close to you, yes, in the family, with your father. And in a way, you went back to Tunisia and reconnected with that land. You're always connected, but it's different when you are there. You know, it's those special moments that we really need to be close. Do you run a residency in Tunisia also? Was that something that also took place right after that?
It raised after that. I mean, as I stayed and I looked for a place, and as life is so generous, I found a big house in the countryside, 1 hour from the capital. And I was dreaming of this kind of house. I mean, not far from the capital, in a flight, near the water, near a small mountain. I mean, it was all my wishes.
Ideal.
Life. So, I mean, okay, I will stay in Tunisia to watch that 4 seasons, but I'm here since 3 years. And at that time, I wasn't COVID vaccinated, so I decided to just, okay, make it a place for artists to come to me,
right?
As I can't come to them, and I stayed, and I'm still developing this. It's kind of artistic projects in the form of an artist residency, dedicated to listening. I mean, we listen with the whole body, you know, as I don't hear anymore from me. We listen with the whole body. So it could be any practice open to all. And earth and nature is really, really helping. For to foster, to cultivate those connections.
Absolutely.
To listening.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting for me to talk about it also at that festival in Argentina. You never know. Maybe some might be
yes,
interested to know.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And we are including the link. And I tell you, it looks ideal. I saw those images like, wow, I can see myself being there. Oh my gosh, so amazing. In Argentina, also my family, we have a small. It looks like you're surrounded by trees and so I mean, but that's so ideal, being close to the capital. In this case, we have a house in the mountains that I tried to make a residency. Also there, it's still there, and it's beautiful and amazing, but it's quite isolated. You have to cross a mountain. You have 4 hours going from the capital in the province in the north, and it's difficult to get there. And it has remained a sort of isolated communities throughout the years, really. But it's just that bit of that inconvenience. But yes, I saw your residency in the place, and it's like, oh wow, this is so ideal. It's so amazing. So yeah, Buenos Aires is open, and for you to come, and we can, always reconnect when you have a possibility. And I'm also going sort of back and forth. Now I'm in California, and but also we would like to know more about your residency, and so it's people can write to you in your email or.
Yes, indeed. And I must say, I am not still organized as an institution, and I'm not sure I want it like that. But the way I envision it is, people, the practice is dedicated to listening, and it could be also one or a group of artists from different backgrounds just here, because there is enough place for 4 people, 4 creators or artists, and inspire each one from different, and just get and develop a project together, or each one on their own.
Right.
It is a nice place for that.
Fantastic.
So you are welcome to communicate with me by mail.
Yes, and we will put that email very clearly there, so for everyone interested. Maybe we all meet there sometimes. Or also, of course, you are invited, in Buenos Aires, if we do get the chance, you do get the chance to travel. So, okay, I think that we have gone through the basics, and with some luck. Yeah, Kuba, go ahead.
I just wanted to quickly comment on Soufïa's work. It reminded me a conversation I had with my friend in New York, Viva Ruiz, and I asked her, how do you find connection to nature in this hyper city environment? And she said, like, you know what? For me, nature, I find it in people. And for me, that was really great answer. I was like, yeah, we are nature. I mean, maybe some people claim we are half nature. I don't know, but still there is this connection. So your work reminded me about that. And like sometimes we look for it somewhere, but it's just like right in front of you as another person.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And I must say there is 17 edited projects, but I am 13 encounters, and I would love continue that project and meeting with different backgrounds of people and generation and origin. I would love to. So it's still alive for me, like work in progress, but very slow, and I'm just waiting for the opportunities to to receive.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful, beautiful bonding communities project.
Yeah, really. And it's one-to-one in the context of a certain groupality, which enhances, right, the sense of community. And from the individual to the collective, and it's really beautiful. And certainly an experience to have, to that you could feel invited. And so I think that maybe just, okay, so Kuba made some comment about Soufïa's piece. I opened for some comment or question or something, crisscrossing a little bit amongst you, which Kuba just somehow did about your pieces. So maybe Tzu-Chi or Soufïa. Yes, go ahead, Soufïa.
Yeah, but when watching the piece of Kuba, it was very subtle and beautiful, perceiving the transformation of the space with the light. And at a certain moment, around 7 minutes, because I perceived something, and then 7 minutes, and I felt that something was happening to the body, and also very slight posture of the body that has changed.
Yeah.
And I felt that the space was a little more that expanded. And at a certain moment, around 10 minutes, I felt the body of Kuba as with the tree that is behind. I thought it was a tree himself.
Yeah.
It was I was perceiving Kuba as a tree himself. It's very beautiful, and really through time, I've seen the tree. For me, the tree was still alive there. The field of the tree was still there, and that was a very soothing space to watch.
Yes.
To receive, let's say.
Yeah.
And I must say also for Tzu-Chi, how her piece was very. It reminded me performance. In the beginning, how the leaves are they going to leave? How long? All the questioning, and then letting go all the questioning of how is she going under that? All those questions that came up in the beginning. And after a few minutes, it was, wow, what beautiful images were just traveling through and in front of my vision. And a beautiful music. It's about vibration is music,
yes.
Huh?
Yes.
And I was feeling the movement of the tree, the leaves, and hearing a little bit the sounds with my Bluetooth device.
Yeah.
And it was really a kind of sonata, yes. Music was very slow, soothing music, but at the same time mysterious, How is she doing under the... And and how long, and thank you for the space that was offered to navigate with you with the wind.
Oh, thank you. For me, this kind of talk really helps me to understand deeper. Yeah, like Kuba's performance is no problem for me. I can, but John's I'm not so. Yeah, I don't see that clearly what it means, or but after he says his explanation, then it turns out to be very clear and quite humorous, and just like what Graciela said. So this kind of conversation is important, I think. And also Soufïa's piece. Did you talk? You don't talk. You just stare to
Silent.
with each other.
We talked before. I said, you want to talk?
Yeah, 1 hour.
If you need it, if it's essential, say it. But talk to talk, I mean, we're here to be here. So just here. But if life needs to talk with words, do it. So there was one who talked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I must say, for the portrait, they talk. But at the threshold, it's a moment. At the moment, it's a shifting moment. People don't talk. Something is happening very important. Suddenly, they see themselves.
And about the order, how you, because people with tears, the latter part. So the order it's not, you arrange.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, meanwhile, the gazing, more often it's silent. And after the experience, I recorded it, but I didn't use it. We share. How was the experience for you? So each one shared, you know, the meaning of the tears for her, the insights that were lived, the emotions that were liberated, the stories, or, you know, they were sharing. But I just kept, I mean, it was enough, full of life.
Yes. And also for nature. For me, human is also part of nature. You know, yeah, everything is nature. So, like we say, human nature, right?
Yeah, true.
Nature.
Human nature.
We are part of nature, actually,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact. Yeah. But now when we talk about nature, people think about trees, river, you know, the forest.
Yeah.
But today's, you know, mine and Soufïa's, anyway, yeah, it's broader sense of nature. It's good.
Yes. Yeah. Wonderful.
Mm.
Okay, I think that we can wrap it up and wish each other a good rest of the day and week. And
Beth is waiting for me.
Oh yes, Beth, dream.
Night.
You are gonna dream.
No, going to
With
lie
all
down.
Another
Thank you.
performance.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so much. I'm
see
happy
you
to
soon.
talk with you.
Yes. Continue in contact and let us know about your whereabouts. And we care and we love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Graziella. Thank you, each one of you, for holding space.
Merci.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bye-bye.
Se almorzaba. Polenta con pichones del palomar de la casa. Y de lunes a viernes se comía puchero.
She's a housewife. This is my mother. Her name is Jimena. She likes chicken. She doesn't like pizza. She's a housewife.
huellas del amor se pierdan en vida.
Yo he sentido el abandono, la tristeza tan profunda que te duele el alma y el cuerpo,